The Dark Secrets of Catherine the Great, Love, Lies, and the Forbidden Affairs of an Empress. Catherine the Great, born Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst in 1729, is remembered as one of Russia's most remarkable and powerful rulers. Her reign, lasting from 1762 until her death in 1796, was transformative for the Russian Empire, marked by territorial expansion, cultural flourishing, and significant political reforms. However, beneath the grandeur of her rule lay a personal life filled with intrigue, scandal, and numerous affairs, which were as significant as her political maneuvers. Her lovers, both real and political, were integral to her success as a ruler, as they often helped shape the course of Russian history. Catherine's story began in the small German principality of Anhalt-Zerbst, where she was born into an unremarkable noble family. Her early life showed little indication of the extraordinary future she would come to have. At the age of 14, she was introduced to the Russian court as a potential bride for the future Emperor Peter III, who was a nephew of Empress Elizabeth. Catherine was chosen not only for her noble birth but also for her beauty, intellect, and composure, qualities that would help her ascend to power. She left her homeland behind and traveled to Russia, where she was christened into the Russian Orthodox Church and prepared for her marriage to Peter. Her marriage to Peter III, however, proved to be an unhappy and tumultuous one. Peter was immature, mentally unstable, and politically inept. He often alienated the Russian nobility with his pro-Prussian sympathies and disregard for Russian traditions. Catherine, on the other hand, was intelligent, politically astute, and ambitious. Though she initially sought to support her husband, she soon grew disillusioned with him. By the time she became Empress, Catherine was already well versed in the politics of the Russian court and had begun to seek affection and support elsewhere. Before she even became Empress, Catherine's numerous affairs with high-ranking men at court were already a well-known part of her life. One of her earliest lovers was Grigory Orlov, a talented officer in the Russian Guard. Orlov, deeply enamored with Catherine, would play a crucial role in her rise to power. Their romantic relationship was not just one of passion, but of political necessity. Orlov and his brothers were key allies in the coup that overthrew Peter III in 1762. Peter's unpopularity with the nobility provided the perfect opportunity for Catherine to seize power, and Orlov, who had long been an ardent supporter of Catherine's claim to the throne, helped her orchestrate the coup. The details of Peter's subsequent imprisonment and mysterious death remain unclear, though some historians speculate that Orlov may have played a role in his demise. With Peter out of the picture, Catherine ascended to the throne as Empress of Russia. Her marriage to Peter had been one of convenience, but Catherine's reign would be defined by her own desires, both political and personal. Her love affairs continued, and many of them were deeply intertwined with her political ambitions. Catherine's lovers were often not just sources of personal satisfaction, but political tools that helped her maintain her power and expand Russia's influence. These relationships were widely known and became a topic of gossip in the Russian court, but Catherine, ever shrewd and calculating, skillfully managed her public image to maintain her position. One of the most significant and enduring relationships in Catherine's life was with Grigory Potemkin, who would become her closest confidant and lover. Potemkin was a brilliant military leader, and their partnership would prove to be one of the most successful in Russian history. Potemkin played a crucial role in the expansion of the Russian Empire, particularly in the conquest of the Crimea and the Black Sea region. Though their romantic relationship was not always consistent, they shared a deep intellectual and emotional bond. Potemkin, along with his leadership skills, was instrumental in many of Catherine's policies and military campaigns. He was also the architect behind the creation of Potemkin villages, elaborate facades built to impress foreign visitors, which gave an illusion of prosperity in rural areas. Despite their deep connection, Potemkin's loyalty was not without challenges. Though Catherine and Potemkin's love was passionate, both had other lovers throughout their time together, and Potemkin himself was known to have had extramarital affairs. Their relationship, though built on mutual respect and admiration, was complicated, and they remained in correspondence until Potemkin's death in 1791. Catherine was deeply affected by his passing, as he had been not only her lover but also a vital ally in her rule. Catherine's romantic entanglements were not solely confined to Potemkin. She had a number of other lovers throughout her reign, some of whom were also influential in Russian politics. Among these was Count Stanislaw August Poniatowski, who would later become the King of Poland. Catherine and Poniatowski shared a passionate affair, and Catherine used her influence to secure the Polish throne for him. This relationship gave her significant influence over Polish politics, and she would later use her power to intervene in Polish affairs, shaping the political landscape of the region. Another lover, Count Alexander Vasilievich Suvorov, was one of Russia's most famous military leaders. While their affair was largely platonic, Suvorov's military expertise was of great value to Catherine, and his influence helped her maintain her political grip over Russia. Suvorov's strategic acumen contributed to many of Catherine's military successes, and his loyalty to her was never in question. Throughout her reign, Catherine managed to balance her romantic liaisons with the demands of governing a vast empire. Her lovers, many of whom were powerful figures in their own right, helped her maintain control over the Russian court and political sphere. Each affair, while personal, also had political ramifications, as Catherine carefully chose her lovers from among the Russian aristocracy and military elite, men whose support she needed to maintain her authority. Catherine's ability to navigate the complex web of court politics was matched by her intellect and vision for Russia. She was a patron of the arts, literature, and education, and under her rule, Russia experienced a cultural renaissance. Her reforms in education and the arts helped to shape Russia into a more modern and European-oriented power. She was also a key figure in the expansion of the Russian Empire, overseeing territorial gains in the Black Sea, Crimea, and Poland. Despite her many affairs, Catherine was not just a woman of passion. She was a highly capable and ambitious ruler. She skillfully used her relationships with men to further her political aims, and while her personal life was the subject of much scandal and gossip, her reign was undeniably successful. Catherine remained in power for over 3 decades, and her legacy as one of Russia's greatest rulers endures to this day. Catherine the Great died in 1796 at the age of 67. Her death marked the end of a transformative era in Russian history, and her reign was remembered as one of the most successful and influential in Russia's history. Though her personal life was filled with scandal, her political acumen, military successes, and cultural contributions ensured that her legacy would endure. The story of Catherine the Great is one of power, love, and ambition. Her affairs, often viewed as scandals, were in fact part of a larger strategy to maintain her grip on power. Through her relationships, she navigated the complex political landscape of 18th century Russia, cementing her place in history as one of the most formidable rulers of her time. Her life was a blend of intrigue and intellect, passion and politics, and her legacy continues to captivate historians and admirers around the world. Was Catherine the Great a manipulative seductress who used men to maintain power? Or was she simply one of the few women in history brave enough to live as men had always done, unapologetically and on her own terms? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more bold and captivating tales from history. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and take care.